And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to day number 2 of the Coliseum 7 playoffs. I'm, of course, your host, ZvP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat and by these amazing players, as well as we have a best of 7, a couple of best of 7s ready for you tonight. And oh, my apologies. I assumed it was Cure versus Solar first. It is going to be Dark versus MaxPax coming at you first instead. I need to fix the predictions. My apologies. Un momento, papi. Un momento. Dark versus... Oh, good. As we're diving on in. And spawning in the bottom left, we do have Dark. Currently teamless. Currently a green teamless player. Meanwhile, in the bottom left, we have MaxPax for Storm. One moment here, as if you are in the chat, predictions are open. So place your bets on who you think will come out on top in this best of 7 elimination match. You heard it correct here. These are elimination matches. The winner will advance on. The loser will be eliminated from the tournament. It's already been a pretty wild event so far. Some big names have already gone down. Big names like Clem. Clem did fail to enter the playoffs, and even here the playoffs are brutal as well. We had just a plethora of mirror matchups last night. Dark did end up falling to Rainer. MaxPax ended up falling to Hero, and now they have to face off against each other. Oh boy, here we go in a ZvP. And again, predictions going to be closing in a minute, and we are here to determine how this goes, as we do take the goal base. Of course we do, as Dark is going to get scouted. Dark is seen. So Dark is very fond of taking the goal base on Alcyone. Very fond of it. Sometimes he takes it even on the other side of the mineral wall, even on the left-hand side of the map, so he can be very bold at times, but we can see here he's taking his base on the right-hand side instead. MaxPax very quickly to scout. He does check, he does confirm, he does get eyes on that ninja base, or on the gold. Now, usually when Dark takes this gold base, it's not a macro base. Like, he's not taking it to, like, oh, we expand here, and then we expand back at home, and we get into, like, a long macro. No. Like, we want to take advantage of this gold base as quickly as possible. This will typically lead into an all-in, into a roach push, a roach timing from Dark, or even just a Ling Bane all-in. So aggression is going to be upon us. He wants to make use of this goal base as quickly as possible and zoom across the map. MaxPax needs to prepare. He needs to prepare either to receive said push, or ideally punish this. He needs to punish this goal base with oracles, with adepts, with whatever he has available to try to slow down the economy of Dark before it gets out of control. It does get out of control. As here we go, we do see rocks. Sorry, links are out. Knocking down those rocks. We do have our take of choice. Could be a Twilight Council opener here out of MaxPax. Makes plenty of sense. Now, Twilight Council opener should be leading into Glaive Adepts. Glaive Adepts would be amazing in this position because Dark is kind of split between his bases. You know, he's cut off from his own northern main base, this southern gold base as well. He's gonna have a hard time defending both locations at once with Glaive Adepts, as one drone already goes down. Good pickoff. Good pickoff so far. One worker does fall. Overlord taking some hits, being zoned away. Now, the revelation of this Blink Stalker, the revelation of the Stalker, I should say, the revelation of the prioritized Warp Gate is a tell. Dark is aware, should be aware of the Twilight Council opener, whether or not it's Glaives or DTs or even like a Robo opener. Dark is not aware of that. He's still in the dark as to the specifics of the build, but he does know that it's unlikely to be a Stargate opener. So Dark should be getting ready back at home. I mean, Link Speed is already on the way. It's still a little bit too early for a Roach Warren, but we should soon be seeing either a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest in a couple of seconds, by around the 4-minute mark at most. At least I would hope so, as Links are still going to be amassing. And there it is. There's that Roach Warren on the way at 340. Glaive Adept still in production here. And so far, Dark has been able to make use of that gold base. Has only lost one drone for the time being. But that is soon about to change. Ooh, as we're committing. Okay. This is not your standard Glaive Adept. Standard Glaive Adepts is 4 gates. 4 gates, but this is 6. 6 gate Glaive Adepts. This is a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of MaxPax. I like this. I like the idea of doubling down on your aggression and committing hard when you know that your opponent is being so greedy, and when you know your opponent is rushing into this goal base and they're so exposed. So MaxPax, he wants to punish this. He will try. Will he succeed, though? Prism is on the way. Prism is on the way behind this to help reinforce. Adepts are shading on out as well. Again, this Onaga is a very nice position for these depths. You can see how narrow those entry points are and how the choke point just works against all these lings. They cannot engage, not at the Zonaga. Not at the Zonaga. Roaches are in production. We have 5, 6 roaches on the way. It's a decent amount, but again, the difficult thing here is whether or not Dark can keep up with the movement in between the bases, as they are very spread out. Prism's going to be coming in. We're waiting for our big warp in. Oh. My apologies. I just realized... That's weird. I just realized that apparently there wasn't any in-game audio. Wait, what? How long has that been the thing? So I do apologize, but here we go. We have a couple of depths shading in towards that southern base. At the same time, we shade into natural. Drones are going to be going down. A lot of workers, actually. 5 workers. We shade on now. We don't really lose many adepts. So 5 workers for 2 adepts. Pretty good trade so far here by Dark. Good trades overall. Army pushing in. Oh, I think that means that I didn't have audio last night. No! I think that's what it means. My apologies. But for now, the roaches are coming out just in time to deal with these adepts as well. They still haven't made their way into any bases. Like, we've killed 5 workers, that's true, but we still need to get more damage done. And the roach army of Dark is forcing this back. At the same time, Prism is sneaking out across the map. We have our transition. We're going into disruptors behind this. So 6k Clave Adepts into Mass Disruptor. Has a lot of potential here against the Roach Ravager. Oh, I like this. We do see MaxPax actually knocking down the rocks, going to the other side of the wall. The other side of the map. Warping the speed on the way. Prism still threatening bases, but Dark has done a great job here at just defending, at deflecting any kind of aggression here from MaxPax. For the most part. Outside of those 5 workers, like Dark, he's keeping up. He is keeping up here. Another base is on the way. Dark still amassing more lings, more roaches. Likewise, MaxPax taking his 3rd base. It looks like we're transitioning. Okay, it looks like we're transitioning from this point. MaxPax, what's important here is that he does preserve his adepts. He did lose a couple, that's true, but he did retain most of them. So he's able to expand, able to safely take this 3rd base and get into disruptors. Now, he's not out of the woodworks yet. Again, he's kind of behind because he invested so heavily into these adepts and they didn't do enough damage. They did not do enough damage here, not yet. As a result, these disruptors have to make up for it. So we have Warp Prism speed for that Prism, of course. We have 2 disruptors, and we need to get damage done. And here we go, MaxPax pushing out with not just his disruptors, but also his adepts as well. His adepts and stalkers with everything he has. There's still a lot of pressure on him. Roach is going to be engaging. Again, Dark has to be careful. Roach speed still isn't going to be that much more difficult to split against those Novas. That much more difficult. So far, good engage. Nova goes off, does get baited out. He'll be zoning away the army. Adepts, they do shade on the right-hand side, and we will get a couple of drones. Meanwhile, Dark, he collapses in this position. Is this a little bit too premature, though? Nova goes off, gets 2 Ravagers. Good connections. Bailings, they do crash on in, but the Adepts, they escape. They manage to slip away from those Bailings. Alas, we are being cleaned up. Yeah, the Ling reinforcers, they get here just in time, and we clean up all the Adepts. We get 2 drone kills, and that is it. We got 2 drones, we got 2 Ravagers. We traded with the Lings. That was not good enough. And you can see MaxPax falling behind in supply. Like, the damage this built for MaxPax just didn't achieve what it needed to. Not yet. He still has those 2 disruptors. He still has potential. Speaking of, you can see him just forcing back the army, fading out some drop play. MaxPax being forced back up the ramp. Again, with the high ground, with the point of elevation, it's going to be a little bit easier to defend. How goes it over? Up! Oh, doesn't connect. And Bailey's going to go straight for the mineral line. Ling's going to go straight for the Stalkers as well. MaxPax being forced further and further back here into his bases. Yeah, into his natural. And this 3rd base is going to be forfeit. Overcharge is popped. He holds onto his natural, but again, the 3rd base should go down. See Dark just keeping the rest of the Stalker army at bay. Good biles, they do connect with the Stalkers. A lot of Stalkers go down. And with these Ling reinforcements, we get 17 probe kills and a kill on the Nexus. We come in from behind, we go straight for the Colossus. Up! It takes damage! Colossus getting very low. Nova does connect, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. GG gets called, and Dark will snowball out of control, taking game number 1. GG. GG, well played. And yeah, so far a good start there out of Dark. We saw that MaxPax did confirm the opener, did confirm the goal base, but he wasn't able to punish it. He wasn't able to punish that base in the end, wasn't able to really deal much economic damage, unfortunately. He killed 5 workers, but for 6k Clavered Eps, that's a big investment. That's a big investment there. A big delay on the third, a big delay on the tech. For only 5 workers, not worth it. Not worth it there for MaxPax. He needs to get more done. He didn't, and Dark snowballed out of control. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2, but as a reminder, it's a best of 7. It is a best of 7 here between Dark and MaxPax. Plenty of games to come. Plenty of games still on the horizon. We have our 2 vetoes. Dark vetoed Radisson Station. MaxPax vetoed Equilibrium. Shouldn't be a surprise. Shouldn't be a surprise there. Equilibrium is the Zerg map. Radisson Station is the Protoss map. Here we go in the top left-hand corner. We have Dark from South Korea. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have MaxPax for Storm. Here we go. As we are going to be settling into game number 2. Again, the dynamic here is going to be a little bit different. The rush distance by ground on Golden Aura is shorter. It is a shorter rush distance compared to, I was going to say Equilibrium. I mean, true. Compared to Alkione. So aggression, it can work quite well on a map like this. Likewise, though, even though it has a shorter rush distance, what this typically means is that if a fight goes a certain way, then you gain a lot of momentum when it comes to your counterattack. But when it comes to the overall defenses here on your 3 bases, you're actually pretty well fortified. Your natural and your linear third base are pretty well defended. The ramp leading into the third is very narrow. It's very narrow. And likewise, also the kind of choke point on the right-hand side also works in your favor as well. So it can be very difficult to break a 3-basing player. It's later on when they take another base, you know, the 4th base, the 5th base, when they expose themselves a little bit more, that's when typically action does occur. But we'll see. We shall see, because Dark is always one to throw caution to the wind. You know, you may have a defender's advantage, you may have, things may look a little bit insurmountable, but he'll still come at you. He's still an animal. Which is great. We love him for it. Do love him for it. And for now, it's going to be a Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener. Dark Horse take the unnatural natural. Interesting natural base location. He takes the more forward, even a more exposed base. But this will mean that his 4th base is that much more defendable as the game does progress. So interesting decision here as we're going to be settling into this. And I imagine on a map like Golden Aura, with a much more standard opener, we should see a Stargate. We should be seeing a Stargate opener out of MaxPax. As I say that, Warp Gate is started, actually. Okay. Okay, it's cancelled. I don't know if you saw over there, but Warp Gate was started, it was cancelled, then bam! Stargate. Stargate is thrown down, so again, this does make a lot of sense. There's no reason for MaxPax to open up aggressively here when there's no goal base to punish, so it's going for a much more standard opener. With this should be leading into Oracle production, into a 3rd base, into triple Oracle, into tech. Now that follow-up tech is what I'm curious about. I want to see where we go from here. Do we go into +1 Blink Stalkers? Do we go Charge the Archon? Do we go Forge Robo without a Twilight Council and go really tech heavy? MaxPax has options. Ooh, as the first step gets across the map, we get 1 drone kill. Oh, ooh, not quite a second. 1 worker does go down. Oracle is on the way, as we did mention. Lings, they do slip into the natural base. We're looking for a probe kill, but so far good control out of MaxPax. Doesn't lose any workers yet. Does preserve his mineral line. And the Lings are being forced back. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here, as I believe this Ling, will knock it into the main base. So, Dark, he's aware of the Stargate opener, but he doesn't know the first units. Otherwise, he would have with that Ling Scout. Dark, he was a little bit greedier. He wanted to get a probe kill, was punished for it. So, Dark, he's a little bit less sure of what's going on. Safety Spore Crawlers are on the way. Queens are amassing as well. Queens are going to be amassing. At the same time, nice round. Good surround here on the depths. 2 of them will go down. 2 of them do get picked up. as MaxPax is taking his linear third. Again, just getting into triple Oracle, as we mentioned, just a very standard safe opener out of MaxPax, very economic. Lings are here to slow him down, though. They do get some nice damage done here on the base. Can they force a cancel? Oracle's on the way. It's not going to be in time. No shot. Oh, it's going to be so close, and we do force a cancel. That should not have happened. That is brutal. Again, it was only a handful of Lings. It wasn't a big investment, and we force a cancel in that third. A big delay for MaxPax. Ay, ay, ay. Again, the reason why this occurred was because MaxPax lost his adepts. Remember, he sent 2 adepts across the map and they got caught in the middle. Those 2 adepts, they were the adepts that were supposed to be keeping the Lings busy and also defending the base back at home if we did race back home. With the death of those adepts, things snowballed out of control. Behind this, 4-minute 30 lair timing for Dark. Very early lair here for Dark. I'm curious as to the purpose. Curious if we're just using it for, roaches and then roach speed. I don't see a roach warren yet though, unless I missed it. Meanwhile, we do see a Twilight Council on the way. No Forge. That is a tell. Very interesting. MaxPax avoiding that Forge, avoiding those upgrades. Oracles, they dip in between the bases. This looks like a Link Queen Nidus all in. I'm curious. I'm curious what we throw down once these Oracles get swatted away. There it is. Nidus is on the way. Nidus gets thrown down here. That is the purpose of the fast lair. Again, it was a 4-minute 30 lair timing. Very early, and it is an all in. Darkroom here going completely all in. And MaxPax, he's going to have some Stalkers to defend. That's true. He's going to have a couple of Oracles, but he's still in the dark. Still doesn't realize what's going on. Doesn't realize how much danger he's in. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, so we're just amassing more Lings. Overload into the main base, providing some vision. We need to get eyes on the natural. We need to get eyes on the lack of saturation. Or on the Nidus itself. And we get a revelation on the third. That's not going to be good enough. And here comes the Nidus. And do we see? We do. MaxPax, he does respond. He does see the Nidus coming in the main base. As he gets dragged over towards the right-hand side, we have Lings counterattacking at the third. Will the Queens commit? And the Queens are going to go down. This was a bit of a misstep here from Dark. And the Queens are isolated, and 4 Queens going to get picked up here. Big pickups here from Dark. At the same time, Lings, they flood in. They come in to support. They're going to surround on the Stalkers. Blink isn't done, by the way. Forced to recall. Stalkers are going to go down. More Queens are coming in. Initially, it was a good start. It was a good hold. And I still want to give the edge to MaxPax. 4 Queens went down for free. 4 Queens did go down. And not a good start for Dark. But he's camping the production. The Stargate's going to be falling in the gateways as well. Lings, they flood into the mineral lines. Probes are going down here at the natural. And we just focus on killing these gateways. Yeah, and we're just focusing on the natural base as well. Looks like the main mineral line is safe and secure, but everything else is on fire. Blink is done. Lings are flooding in towards the third. I believe Overcharge is still not quite used in the main base. It's still available. As Lings, they go first around on that Nexus, and Dark is just getting too much damage done. That's 20 probe kills here already. 20 probe kills. The natural base as well. And from here, we can go for the third. We can go for whatever we want. We're getting the Twilight Council, which means no charge. There's that overcharge that we spoke about. Does keep all these Stalkers alive. These Lings will eventually run out of steam, and you can see it. Dark is getting the hell out of here. And the dust will settle. Now, as it settles, worker counts are similar. That is true. The worker counts are similar, but we are, oh my god, we already have the infestation, but we're rushing into Hive Tech. Curious. I'm curious if this is just for Adrenal. Or if we... No, yeah, this should just be for Adrenal. As we have a second infestation on the way, that's what we're pointing out, unfortunately. So some wasted resources there for Dark. MaxPax is stuck on 2 bases against a 3 base of Dark. Dark working on a 4th base as we speak. And because Dark killed so much tech, he can afford to just drone from here and chill. Like, I still want to give the edge to Dark right now. MaxPax did survive, but Dark, here we go. We're getting into +1 melee. Infestors, fungal growths as well. Dark is working on that next step. So MaxPax is going to try to recover back at home. Now, at least he has Blink, so he has quite a mobile composition. He has quite a mobile army, that is true. But is that going to be enough? Yes, he does have to move out. He does have to trade. The problem here is that sure he has Blink Stalkers, but that's why we have Infestors. If MaxPax overextends, if he pushes too far into creep, we're going to see a big fungal. We're going to collapse on this army. So MaxPax has to be very careful with his movement and how he engages. Oof, so far so good. Does dodge. Oh, stage trap going to be going up. Again, the first fungal is dodged. We have one more fungal in the chamber. Adrenals on the way. We're going up to Ultras. Let's go. It's going to be Ling Queen, Infestor into Ultra. MaxPax reestablishing himself on 3 bases. Has a decent economy now, up to 60 workers. His economy is looking good. He's catching up in tech. We have +2 on the way. We have charge on the way. MaxPax, he is clawing his way back into this. Especially because Dark's advantages are interesting, right? Like, he has a Hive, true, but he's not going into, for example, Hydrolurker Viper, right? Like, the ideal, like, endgame ground toss composition to deal with ground toss. He's not going for that. He's going for Ultras, and Ultras are very hit and miss. Ultras can work very well, especially if we fight on creep, especially if we fight out in the open, out in the map. When it comes to breaking entrenched positions, like these Nexi, yeah, these bases here of MaxPax, Ultras can struggle because then you have SimCity, then you can create choke points, and Ultras, they can kind of get stuck on each other. I know they're smaller than they once were, but they still are quite, you know, awkward in their movement. They're quite expensive as well. So it does depend on how Dark decides to use this army. How he does want to incorporate these Ultras. Especially because MaxPax is turtling, right? Like, again, if MaxPax was being active, then sure, I would be okay with this. But he's chilling back at home. He's slowly taking a 4th base. He's throwing down cannons, shield batteries, building up Colossi. This is where I don't think Ultras are amazing. But I mean, Dark is about to max out. So maybe the sheer amount of supply may be enough to overcome that. Not just the supply, but we also have Vipers on the way. And that is going to be good. Again, with these Vipers, we can yoink and abduct every single Colossus. The Colossus, the Immortals, the high-tech units in general. We can focus them down. Ooh, as 4 shields are thrown down, a lot of Link's going to get shaved off. At the same time, Night is swarm into the main. We do force a warp in. So far, MaxPax, he is holding. He is defending. Meanwhile, in the main, Dark going for a Spire. This is much better. With the Spire, we can work towards a Greater Spire and Broodlords. I imagine that's where we want to go. We also have the option, as we have a Token Swarm Host on the way, we have the option to go for Mutas, I guess, but I'm not too sure how fond of that I am, especially against Mass Blink Stalker. Yeah, we can see MaxPax is transitioning into Skytos. Stargates are on the way, soon to be a Fleet Beacon for carriers. So you can see here MaxPax is just turtling apart, and we spoke about this, right? Like, this 4-base setup is very well fortified. Dark doesn't have to push in. He shouldn't push in until MaxPax tries to take a 5th. The 5th base, that's what we have to deny. That's what we're going to be committing to kill. Azult's going to be denying the gold. +1 air attack is on the way. I believe that's the 2nd Spire in production. Yep, 2nd Spire, Greater Spire in production. This will be for one air attack upgrades or air carapace upgrades to get into Broodlords and Corruptors. Dark is always the one to make the Token Swarm Host. Not just Dark, Raynor does it. I haven't seen Serral do it too often, but like most Zerg players, you know, the Token Swarm Host, it's tradition. It is tradition. What the difference here, what I love when Dark does it, is that, I don't know if you saw it, it's burrowed outside the fort. Like, that Swarm Host is chilling there, and we're actually using it. Like, he's been sending Locust Waves over. Like, whenever Dark actually makes his, like, he actually uses it. Whenever any other Zerg player makes it, they just kill it. Or they just, like, throw it away, you know? So Dark's like, yeah, I have this, may as well, you know? Like, you do you. Get your bread, Pop. I'd love to see Swarmhosts. Dark does use Swarmhosts against Charge or Archon. Swarmhosts are very much so a niche build that do rely on certain compositions from the Protoss player. So if MaxPax ever does open up Charge instead of Blink, then we could see Swarmhosts. Like actual Swarmhosts. I'm not in this position though. It'd be pretty bad. It'd not be good. As carriers are amassing. And here it is. The 5th base is going to be denied. As we mentioned, this is all that Dark has to do. All that Dark has to do is deny this 5th over and over and over again. That is his win condition, is to starve out his opponent to make sure that MaxPax, because he's going to be stuck on 4 bases, has a limited amount of resources available, and Dark, with the rest of the map, is able to outtrade him, outcontrol him. And saying that, that also relies on Dark establishing the goal base. Also, the creep is a little bit lackluster. The creep for Dark is a little bit lacking. We have 40 banelings on the way. Let's go. And see, there's a Locust Wave. Look, they're helping. You know, they trigger the stasis, unironically. Actually helping. And so we go. Banelings rolling on in. They go for the middle line. And do we react in time? We don't. The boys. Boy's gonna be going down, and not too many of those. 7 probes do fall, but so does the attack defense. And the base itself even. As MaxPax tries to take the 5th base, he will lose his 4th. At the same time, 5th gets eyed on, gets spotted. Ludling's gonna be going down, and here we go. Now Dark has to take action. Like, he cannot allow this base to freely get up and running. He's amassing Corruptors as we speak. 11 Corruptors on the way. Nice storm here on the Lings. We'll just push forward though. Now again, even though MaxPax, again, as we mentioned, is establishing that 5th, like at least Dark, he's applying pressure here. He's denying the 4th. Keeping MaxPax on a bit of a lower income here, or at least trying to. Now, what I'm really concerned by is the bank of Dark. I did mention it briefly, that Dark, his creep is lacking and his bases are lacking. And he hasn't been prioritizing his gas income. That's why he has so much minerals. He has so many minerals and not a lot of gas to work with. He does need to like refocus his economy right now. Otherwise, MaxPax would take a really good fight and could snowball out of control. So there we go. Dark is taking the top right as well. Taking the rest of these bases. Corruptors are amassing. We're going to try to collapse on this position. Kara's a bit out of position. They're lagging behind. Ultras will connect here with the High Templar. They do get 1. Ooh, big storms though. Big storms on the Corruptors. We get 1, we get 2 carriers. And the Colossus. Yeah, we're going for the dive. There's not enough on the ground. Every single carrier should be going down here. I say that. 3 will survive. Yeah, it looks like there just weren't enough Ultras to support. And that was a brutal loss there for Dark. I mean, he does clean up most of the Sky Toss, but he has to rebuild. He's remaxing on 11 Ultras? Uh-oh. 11 Ultras on the way. We still need a couple of Corruptors though, Papi, but okay. We're committing to mass Ultra. Now, with this Ultra-based army, we should be able to collapse on the Archons and the Stalkers. We should be able to bring them down. But it's still going to be in a brutal trade here. The drones do fall. At the same time, Ling's going to be coming in. They do get us around. We do force a recall. Yeah, we recall just in time. And big storms on the Corruptors. Oh, and they sit in it. Corruptor's going to be falling. We have 2 Corruptors left. But that's a lot of Queens. What we lack in Corruptors, we make up for in Queens here for Dark. As Dark will be forced back. MaxPax, this is dangerous. He's establishing these bases, getting them up and running. He is down to 41 workers, though. He doesn't have a lot of money to work with. Doesn't have a large bank. And here we go. The Mass Soldier pushing on forward. We get on top of the Archons. We will clean up the ground army. And we'll try to. The carriers are massing. There we go. We're remaxing with Corruptor, thankfully. And the ground army, yeah, it's crumbling here against the Ultras. We even get one of the carriers. One of the carriers did go down. Getting a good trade here out of Dark. The Queens did preserve a lot of these Ultras, and again, we have 10 Corruptors in production. And the base is going to fall. And this is all that Dark has to do. He doesn't have to keep pushing. Just deny the 5th. Kills the 5th, backs off. That's all he does have to do. Just a battle of attrition, just whittling away at MaxPax, starving him out. And he is starving. You can see MaxPax, he's down to 52 workers. He can't max out. He has a little bit of resource to work with, a little bit of a bank. But Dark, he has map control. He has the control of the map here, and as a result, MaxPax can't really push. He's just stuck at home. Perpetually stuck at home at this point. And there we go. Now we have a decent Corruptor count. We have +3 air attack on the way. Dark, he can just chill. He has to be very careful with how he engages. I believe there are storms available. Look at the Locust waves. Look at them go. The 2 Locusts every time. They're coming in. Vámonos. In my mind, they're like, what's the name of that movie? Is it Edge of Tomorrow? Where like you die, you reset, and you try again? That's those 2 Locusts. Like, no, yeah, we got this. They just keep resetting. We can take down this base. Let's go. Yeah. They got it, Papi. They got it. As again, Dark, he is just going to be maxing out. And again, you may be thinking like, oh, Dark, like he's maxed out. Is he really going to allow MaxPax to also max out as well and build up an army? I mean, again, Dark, he can just chill. Like he doesn't have to push it, doesn't have to try to kill MaxPax here and now. Right now, MaxPax wants to fight with his site defense, with his cannons, with his shield batteries, with his defender's advantage. That's what MaxPax wants. So Dark, he's just being patient, mining as much as he can, working on his upgrades. You know, he's still working on +3 air carapace. Ooh, I just swarm into the main. At the same time, Mothership sneaking out towards the bottom left, could try to go for the recall here at the gold. Remember, he can kind of recall to the gold, then recall back home. There it is. Do you have the recall? Dark, he is repositioning. He's going straight for those carriers. We gotta get the hell out of here. Show us the recall. There it is. So you can recall in, recall out at the same time. Bathing roll in. They get into the mineral line. Ooh, probe's gonna be going down. Dark punishing this. Gets a carrier. The Ultra's doing what they can, but there's no detection. Ultras have the backup, but they get 14 probe kills. Oh, and MaxPax just barely has anything left here back at home. 35 probes. And like, again, to be fair, MaxPax, he has a very efficient army. It is very efficient. It's Skytoss. But we just haven't hit critical mass here. There's no support either on the ground. There's no Archons, or there's one Archon, I should say. A High Templar of a Storm. Do need more here. That's also why MaxPax can't push. If he pushes, he just dies. Like, he just can't fight the army of Dark head on. He's just contained to these 4 bases. Creeping, encroaching upon the would-be 5th. Just engulfing the map here. Is that Soulmate still alive? I think it is. I hope it is. Is it still there? Show us. I don't think there's been an opportunity. Yeah, it's still there. Look, you can see it. It's still there. Let's go. See, he looks after his boys. It is a token swarm host. We look after our token. He's involved. Let's go. You see Dark trying to be a little bit adventurous by expanding towards the top right. Locust Wave comes in. Oh! Oh! Doesn't get a probe. And Dark, he's refined his army with mainly Corruptor. He's got a handful of Ultras on the ground. We can transfuse, of course. We can keep them alive. And here we go. This army is exposed. Yeah, we can dive on the Sky Toss. We have detection. We have a big power bomb as well here on the carriers. We go for the dive and we will clean this up. Again, MaxPax, he had a hard time recovering from the Nidus Worm, from the Link Queen Nidus all in. Dark was in control, and GG does get called. There's just too much Zerg, and Dark will take game number 2. GG. GG, well played. Don't know why MaxPax still in this game. Because of his army. Like, his army is still, like, formidable. Like, there's a chance, we mentioned before, right? Oh, I was trying to hammer down this point for like that entire game state where Dark, he never had to push in. He never really did push in unless the army moved out. He never pushed into the 4 bases. If Dark had pushed in, you could be down like 50 supply and you can still win a fight. Like, if Dark had been like a little bit too confident, and a little bit too like rash, and if he had tried to like force his way like into some of these bases, then maybe MaxPax like takes a good enough fight and then he can like claw his way back in. There's always a chance. There's always a chance. He takes a fight, then he can expand, take a 5th base. That's also why Dark didn't ape in, because he knew that like, okay, we have to like just be secure, be safe, don't throw away this army. Like, even if he's up 70 supply, doesn't want to throw it away. And with that, we're getting into game 3. Getting into game number 3. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Zerg player, Dark. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have, for Storm, MaxPax. As a reminder, again, these are best of 7s. A lot of games, a lot of matches are ahead of us. And I do want to believe that MaxPax can fight back. So far, Dark has been the one to dictate the pace of the game. Like, to wind it back, especially if you maybe tuned in a little bit late and maybe you weren't here for the start. Game 1, Game 1, Dark on Alcyone rushed into the gold. He rushed into the gold. MaxPax went all in to punish it, failed to punish it, and then MaxPax was in a really rough position. In game number 2, Dark, he was the one that went for the all in. Went for a Link Queen Nidus all in. With a very fast lair, very fast Nidus Worm. Did kill the natural, cripple the economy, and was able to take control of the game from there. So again, typically it's been a very chaotic series so far. We haven't had like a standard game yet, or a standard start. And I'm sure that's what MaxPax wants. Like, he just wants a game. He just wants like a 3 base and a 4 base economy. Wants to get things going. Dark has been there to really disrupt things. Even in game 1, Dark was the one to take the gold and was the initial player to like initiate and to force that reaction, force a chain of events that did occur. Now we're getting into game number 3. I'm only late to class. My dog ate my homework. Este Shiva Blast. It's all good, man. It's all good. But it's just been a very chaotic series, like, which I think is why Dark is leading it as well. You know, it looks like a 2-0 right now. It's like, yo, what's been going on? It's like, mate, MaxPax hasn't been able to get into his game. He hasn't been able to get into his comfort zone. And really, that's the power of Dark. Dark, he thrives in the chaos. And here we go. It's going to be a Stargate opener out of MaxPax. Standard opener here on Hecate makes plenty of sense. So Hecate has a short rush distance by ground. That is true. It is a very short rush distance, but it is very defendable with all these points of elevations, with all these choke points, with all these ramps. So this is, I want to say, a good map for MaxPax. I want to say MaxPax, he can get into his 3rd base economy and get into a 4th base relatively freely, and he should be able to look a little bit better here and a little more comfortable in game 3. Question becomes, what will Dark do? Void Ray first. Oh my god. Okay. Interesting. So MaxPax not going for a standard opener, is going for a Void Ray first. Now the goal of this Void Ray is to kill the Overlord, to deny scouting information, and to keep Dark in the dark as to what comes next. Now what comes next could just be a standard game. It could be a 3rd base with triple Oracle behind it, or sorry, double Oracle behind it into standard tech. It could be a 3rd base into Glaive Adepts. And we have seen Dark die to this variation of Glaive Adept before, plenty of times actually. You know, Classic does it, Hero does it. It can be very effective against Dark. So that is available here to MaxPax if he so chooses. You can also go into Sky Toss. This could be to hide a second Stargate. We go double Stargate Void Ray. We go double Stargate Mass Phoenix. We can go into a Charge All In. Third base is on the way, which as to be expected. But really, I'm curious, what about the tech? What is our tech going to be looking like here? What direction is MaxPax going to take us in? Because whatever direction it is, Dark won't know about it. So here we go. Void Ray hunting down more Overlords. Oracle on the right-hand side. We're headed towards that natural base, and we do have a Spore in position. We are set up for it. One drone goes down. Second Oracle on the way, and it looks like a standard follow-up. This tech is quite late, and we see why. It's a Twilight Council and a Forge. Looks like a standard game. Looks like +1 Blinkstalker. It could be +1 in charge, but regardless, we're not kind of rushing into any kind of crazy hidden tech. We're rushing into, like, a standard game. Have a bit of a gateway explosion behind this. Yo, are we going to charge? Are we? Curious. As we do have our first Oracle being joined by the second. Meanwhile, Dark, he's just freely droning. We have a Bailey Nest on the way, +1 melee as well. Dark accurately reading that his opponent isn't being crazy, isn't being hyper aggressive, and Dark, he's going to get away with skipping his Roach Warren. He will get away with it. And there it is, +1 in Blink. So standard follow-up out of MaxPax. Was a spicy start, but did lead to the same place. Which is also the power of the Void Ray opener, is that, again, it could be something crazy, or it could be standard play. You don't really know. Or you have a hard time confirming. Speaking of confirming, Lings are moving out. We do get eyes on a couple of Stalkers. What's important is we get eyes on not additional Adepts. Still only 3. So very important scout there by Dark. MaxPax rotating around. Again, I'm sure he's just looking for an extra warp in, trying to get a read on the composition of his opponent. Dark going to be taking his 4th, getting a macro hatchery. Working up towards Lair Tech, and the game will ease into the mid game here. No major kind of commitments and no major divergence yet. Dark, he does have map control, that's true. He's still amassing more Lings. Now, the lair just finished. With the completion of this lair, we could go into Lingbane Hydra. Remember, there is no Roach Warren. It's just pure Lingbane. And once again, it looks like Dark, just like I say just like, very similar to the previous game. It looks like Dark wants to go Lingbane into Ultra. Now, this is something that Dark is very fond of, and this works best on larger maps. This map is okay. The problem with Hecate is that there are a lot of choke points. Even in the center of the map, there are the bridge, the rocks as well. There are just so many choke points that gives the advantage to MaxPax, so it can be very difficult to make these ultras work, but it looks like Dark wants to make it work anyway. We'll see if he can. So now we have Stalkers pushing on the right hand side. Do have plenty of leaks to deal with this. Oh, they do get dragged out of position though. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol there out of Dark. Queen goes down. Nice baits here on the stasis traps though. Very nicely done. The army is forced back. Infestation bit is done. Hive is on the way. And again, this mass Ling getting on top of the Stalkers. One Stalker goes out. He wants more. And he's going to get it. He chases this all the way back home. No shield battery. Another couple of Stalkers going to be going down as well. Big trades. And we need to keep the Stalker count low so we cannot counterattack, so we can get into Ultras. Again, this style is all about aggression, all about map control. All about keeping the Protoss player back at home. To allow yourself to get into Ultra. Bailing's going to be on the way. Ling's going first round on the Nexus. Can we force a cancel? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. So close here. Shield battery gets started down. The overcharge is not going to be enough. And we do get a kill on the Nexus. And the Bailings are one again. Did we react in time? We did react. The boys are being pulled away, but it's a little bit too late. 13 probes go down. And Darky is pulling MaxPax apart. Having such a hard time keeping up here. 13 probes and a base. Hive is soon to finish, and we'll be seeing the purpose of that Hive. And we do have a couple of Colossi. Colossi, they do well. Oh, they do well against Lings and against Banelings. Against anything light, really. What isn't light? There it is. The Ultra Cavern is on the way. That is the purpose of this build from Dark. That's why he's been so aggressive, because he needs to keep the army back at home, because he needs to allow himself the breathing room he needs to get into Ultras. Viper's on the way as well to support. Vipers are on the way. And again, that'll be a secure way to deal with all these Colossi. Now, what I will say is that MaxPax is slowly getting to his 4th. Once he does, we may see a transition into Skytoss. Just like the last game, we may see a transition into Skytoss from there, and then we can try to slow the game down. The problem is that this 4th is far more delayed than previously. Far more delayed than the previous game. Rocks being knocked down makes it that much more easier for the Ultras to traverse the map. Zealot Rambai is being set up. Rock's still being knocked down. Oh, that's going to be a Zealot drop into the main as well. Dark, he's in a bit of trouble right now. He needs those Ultras. Again, he's defending with pure Ling. Like, no Roaches, no Hydras, no Lurkers. He has a very vulnerable army. Yeah, he cannot engage. He cannot engage. That base is going to be cancelled. Yeah, would you see the cancel in the hatchery? And MaxPax, he can keep on pushing. Dark engaging without Ultras. This is going to be a tough hold for him. Yeah, and he is so close to getting away with this. But it looks like Dark, he has to give up on this base, or he's gonna commit. He does commit here. Gets us around here on the Stalkers. The Ultras, they arrive. They arrive just in time. Big yoink here on the Colossus. We get 1, we get 2. And can we get 3? Barely not. Not enough energy. But a good trade from Dark. Again, very patient. He just had to wait for the moment when he had those Ultras. And then he could dive. Now he goes for a big counterattack. Links towards the 4th. Links towards the natural. More Ultras are amassing. Oh, 1 Ultra goes down, but we get a surround. No shot. The +2 melee Lings, they get us surrounded. They get another kill on the 4th base. MaxPax, he cannot sustain himself. He cannot max out. And just unable to get into his game here. Storm is on the way. 2nd robot for double Colossus and double Disruptor production. I should be double Immortal, and there we go. Immortals are on the way. Like MaxPax, he's trying to refine his army, and he is, but Dark is soon to max out himself. He's about to hit 200 supply. And his win condition here is to deny the 4th. Deny the 4th over and over again. It's not as defendable as Golden Aura, the 4th base specifically. Now pushing in. We do have Storm though. Storm's going to be zoning Dark back. More Ultras on the way. I wouldn't be opposed to throwing down a Spire at this point for Dark, just to be ready for Skytoss, or again, just to have another way to help deal with this army. Just taking up. As Dark is now maxed. Ling's going to be knocking down those gateways. Creating an opening. Would you yoink? We get another one of those Colossi and an Archon as well. Well, the Archon gets saved. Very nicely done. Archon is going to be saved here. Lings get cleaned up. Not the best trade from Dark. He got a Colossus, but he did bleed out quite a lot of Lings. And we're retreating. 46 more Lings on the way. 3-3 about to finish up. Ooh, and we're going for some drop alert, Papi. We're going for some drop lords into the main. I love this. Again, the last thing that I'm sure MaxPax is thinking of is a drop into the main. And here we go. Drop lords going in that direction. At the same time, Dark amassing an army on the left-hand side. Bailings are rolling on in, and no Bailing speed. It just now starts. So Bailing speed was forgotten, but the Ultras, they get on top of the army. Overcharge is popped. It's going to force them back. But again, this is just a big distraction for the drop into the main. That is the purpose. Here we go. We do dive in. Decent storms here. We do get a yoink. Storm connects, but we lose the Colossus. The drop in the main base a little bit lackluster, but we get 17 probes. Oh my god. 17 workers go down and counting as they're going to be running through those ultras. Again, the army was dragged over towards the right-hand side, was pulled apart. Banelings, they waddle in. We get 21 workers. And MaxPax, he just cannot keep up here. We get a surround, and that base is going to go down. The Nexus, it falls. And Dark, he can back off and remax. And once again, MaxPax, he can't really push out. If he does, he gets surrounded. Like, the rocks have been knocked down. There's decent creep. The creep is, it's decent. It's not amazing. But it's good enough. It's okay. And here we go. I mean, MaxPax, he has to push at this point. He's supply blocked as well. But he has to push it out. He's all in. He's completely all in at this point. Dark has to be careful. So Dark, he can afford to lose a base. He can lose a base if need be, but we come in for the surround. Stasis trap on the way. The links from behind as well. We do get on top of the Immortals at least. The Immortals and the Colossus. Yeah, and just like that, the backbone of this army has crumbled. We only have a couple of Archons and a couple of Stalkers. And we even had the free supply to drop into the main at the same time. GG gets called. Dark takes a 3-0 lead. GG. Oh my god, Papi. GG. Once again, Dark taking control of this game. This time flexing his Mass Ling into Hive into Ultra, which is something he's quite fond of. He did do a variation of this on Golden Aura after a Ling Queen Nidus all in, so it was a little bit different on Golden Aura. But here on Hecate, he was able to gain map control. It was really risky though. Remember, Dark was at his most vulnerable when MaxPax pushed out on the left-hand side. Remember, before the Ultras were out, MaxPax, he pushed with 3 Colossus and his Stalkers, and he was gaining ground. He was killing bases, and Dark was in a lot of trouble. And if you remember, Dark was so patient. He was so patient, he waited for, I think it was like 2 Ultras. He waited for 2 Ultras to pop out, waited with his Viper, and then after he lost a couple of bases, or after he lost a base and a couple of workers, then he engaged, and then he was able to shut down that army. And from that moment, Dark had map control. From that moment, Dark was in the driver's seat. Like, that was the most vulnerable moment for Dark, and MaxPax had potential there, but again, Dark was able to get into those Ultras just in time. Like literally seconds in time. It was crazy. And yeah, from there, he was able to take control, and now he needs one more game here to take this series and to eliminate MaxPax from the tournament, which is a little bit brutal. Again, I spoke about this yesterday. MaxPax, this is his tournament to focus on. He doesn't play in offline events. He doesn't play in IM Katowice or in Dream Hacks or in Home Story Cups. MaxPax, his focus is on online events instead, and this is online. And this is a premier online tournament as well. There's a lot of money on the line. This is a good opportunity for MaxPax, but up against the best players in the world here, MaxPax, up against Dark specifically, he is struggling here tonight. Is struggling. Again, as we mentioned, you know, MaxPax is usually the one dictating the pace of the game, but Dark is a very different kind of Zerg player. Like, I would believe that MaxPax would have an easier time against Cyril and Raynor. I wouldn't say he would win, but he would have a much more comfortable time getting into standard games. Dark is so much more aggressive, so much more in your face, and it can be hard. It can be difficult to kind of settle in. It can be difficult. Just stylistically is what I'm trying to emphasize. And how do we come back? Where do we go from here? How can we come back, Buffy? I mean, as we load into Solaris, it's going to be an interesting map. There are speed zones, of course, that we can try to make use of. There are a lot of bases here as well. We have seen a lot of late game on Solaris, is what I will say, which is probably a good thing for MaxPax. But Solaris feels like another map where Dark would want to go Ling Bane into Ultra again, or even into Mass Muta, just because of how much larger it is, how spread out some of these bases are as well, how open the center is. We'll see. As in the bottom left, we have the South Korean Zerg player, Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have Fasai Storm, MaxPax. Here we go. At this point, MaxPax might return to cheesy builds. I mean, that's what he did on Alcyone, if you remember. That's what he did in Game 1. MaxPax, he went 6 gate Glaive Adepts into disruptor drops. Like, he was very aggressive and very committed on Alkyone, and Dark did shut him down there, which is concerning. Ooh, interesting. As we are going for a bit of an earlier hatchery. I believe that was a 14 hatch timing or 15 hatch timing. Very early on by Dark. And I think this is really smart. So Dark, he opens up with an early hatchery. And what this means that if MaxPax was planning on going for a Twilight Council opener, now it's weaker. Now it is a weaker opener because Dark, yeah, he's going hatch pool gas. His hatchery's on location instead of being forced elsewhere, so Glaive Adept's going to have a harder time dealing damage. Likewise, with his faster pool, he's going to be more safe and secure. Does have faster queens, faster lings. Delayed gas, yes, but, you know, in case MaxPax were to cheese or were to be aggressive, Dark would be safe. There we go. So we are settling into this. And I feel like our eyes, they have to be on MaxPax, right? Like, he's down 3-0, one more loss, and he's out of the tournament. He's done. So the question becomes, what do we do? How do we come back? Interesting pylon location, pylon placements. It does feel like Stargate. The pylon is further out. It's closer to the edge of the main. Looks like a Stargate location, but we'll see. If it is Stargate, I want to see a Void Ray. I want to see a Void Ray first. And there it is. Stargate has been thrown down. If we do get a Void Ray opener, we can play around with it a little bit. And I like the idea of MaxPax hiding something a little bit more unique to try to throw Dark off. But we'll see, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Stargate is rallied across the map, which would indicate Oracle. I still would like a Void Ray instead, but we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. So now MaxPax is going to be shading around, getting a bit of scouting information, zooming across the map. Third base is already on the way though for Dark. Already in production. And there it is, the Oracle is on the way. Again, we did see it was rallied across the map. So it is going to be a standard opener out of MaxPax. Standard opener from our red Protoss player. This is going to be leading into a third base, leading into triple Oracle. And then from there, we can take into different directions. We can go +1 Blink Stalkers, which is, again, kind of the meta way to play. We could try to go Charge Lot Archon Immortal, which can work well. It can hit very hard when we do push out of a 4-based economy. We could go for a faster Robo instead into Colossus production, which is a little bit more old school. I do know that Showtime still does that, but very out of meta nowadays. It's like a year old. Ooh, Dark. Oh god. Never mind, because Dark throws down a 4-minute Roach Warren. Let's go. So a Roach Warren at 4 minutes can be standard. It is the standard timing to defend against something like a Twilight Council opener, but Dark is fully aware it's not a Twilight Council. It's fully aware it's a Stargate opener, so this is for a Roach push. This is for a Roach push from Dark. Dark is going to be once again taking control of the wheel in the driver's seat. Is going to be getting ready for, I imagine, a Roach push. Otherwise we would not get a Roach Warren this early on. And yeah, we're pushing. There it is. Queens are waddling across the map. Roaches are on the way as well. We have the speed zones. We're making use of them. We get a revelation in the main base. We do see the lack of queen, and we will see the roaches coming out. So MaxPax is soon aware. We have shield batteries on the way. Dark is all in. Dark is completely all in. And again, the speed zones will help the queens get across the map that much faster. And we need to defend back at home. Second shield battery on the way. Dark, he's coming. He's coming from MaxPax. He wants the series to be over, Bobby. Dark Shrine follow-up here. Bold move. I kind of like it here from MaxPax, but it's so risky. It's so risky here. Without detection, MaxPax can hold. He can hold here with DTs. He just has to survive. He just has to survive long enough to make these Dark Templar. Here we go. Ravagers are on the way. Lings are amassing. Queens are waddling on forward. We have 2 shield batteries at the natural. We have 2 shield batteries at the third. Dark, he has to go for one or the other. So far, decent biles here. Queen's going to be protecting the Ravagers. While they do connect with that shield battery, it's going to be going down. One more shot, and it will fall. And it does. But that Dark Shrine is more than halfway done. Again, DTs are all we need to hold on. There is no detection. There is no lair. Another Cyber Core. We lose the Cyber Core. No more Stalkers. Shield battery overcharge is running out. And we just need a little bit more time. We need some more time here. You can see the Dark Shrine is about to finish. The Biles, they will connect. We bust into the middle line. Lings are going ham on the Stalkers, on the probes, and damage is being done. Even if we force back the army, it may not be enough. DT's on the way. Lair. The Lair starts immediately. Immediately, Lair does begin. Keen eyes there out of Dark. He's aware of what's going on. And he's doing too much damage anyway. The DT's then not enough. Not anymore. We get on top of the Nexus. We get on top of the base. 18 probes go down. And these Dark Templar, they will eventually kill everything. Eventually. But yeah, we're just running away. We kill the base, we back off. And the lair is more than halfway done. Again, as soon as MaxPax warped in those DTs in the natural, Dark, he started the lair. Again, really keen eyes there. Really good attention to detail. And it does mean that he will have detection in time. And now MaxPax is in a rough position. Now, you may look at the worker count and be like, oh, but the workers are similar, right? I mean, it's not just about the worker count. It's not just about the economy. One, MaxPax is on 2 bases. The other is that he lost a lot of tech. Cybercore had to be rebuilt. We're reinvesting into more tech. We're reinvesting into all these gateways as well that went down. The army was reset. Oh, and the wall is still not a wall. We have a massive link counterattack threatening the bases. Oracle's going to be able to defend. They do force back the Lings. Oh, do we have a Spore? We do. We do have a Spore in position. One drone goes down. Only one. We get a surround. There's no blink. There's no blink on those Stalkers. Big pig-offs here. 2 Stalkers get picked off by those Lings. Behind this, we have Roach speed plus on range. Overlord speed on the way for those Overseers for detection. Dark still very much in control here. Yeah, he's getting ready for the next push. Dark, if he wanted to, Dark, he could just take a 4th base and drone, saturate, take up into like Hydras, take up into Lurkers. If he really wanted to. We can see that he doesn't. We can see that Dark, he's more concerned with just getting 6 Overlords on the way and going for a big secondary all-in. Big all-in, less than 3 base saturation, 53 drones. Dark, the killer instinct here is insane. And I mean, it's most likely going to work here. The DTs were kind of like the Hail Mary play, but we have detection. We can deal with it. We have Overseer speed as well. Overlord speed. And we catch the Archons. No, not like this. Out on the map. No shield battery, no overcharge. And Archon gets picked off for free. And now we can push in towards that natural. It's so wide open. It's so exposed. The Lings, they get into the mineral line. And probes are going down. And from here, Darky just takes control of the ramp. Takes control of the 3rd base. And once again, just engaging with the army. Zoning the Archons away. And we push into that natural for a 2nd time. The Nexus is going to be going down. We cannot save it. Not anymore. The base falls. And yeah, the writing is on the wall here. There's just not enough for MaxPax. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 4-0. GG, well played, Dark. He may be teamless. He may no longer be on DKZ, but he's still a terrifying player and still can just look dominant here against Protoss. Congratulations. Congratulations to Dark for taking the 4-0 in a very, very impressive fashion. Dark will advance on. MaxPax is eliminated from the tournament. My condolences to MaxPax. I mentioned before that it is a little bit more brutal just because MaxPax, Like, he isn't going to any of these offline events, so a tournament like Master Coliseum is that much more important. It's that much more important for him, and for him to be the first to be knocked out of the playoffs is brutal. But it also goes to show the kind of caliber of play here. The caliber of play in Master Coliseum. You have the best of the best. Dark, Raynor, Cyril, Clem, Bjorn, Hero. There's no bad players here, and it's brutal. It is a brutal setting, a brutal tournament. GG. GG, well played. My condolences to MaxPax. Big shout out to Dark. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have our second best of 7 of the night. Hopefully not a 4-0. Pure versus Solar. See you soon. See you soon.